Welcome back. I'm out in the woods again. This is just an area that I absolutely love. And in the previous video, I was just over there. And yeah, I keep moving between these spots because this is such a beautiful area to me. So it's great to have you back. Thank you so much for your level of engagement with my last video. I didn't expect that it would garner a lot of views. It was a bit of a tandem event that I posted this video on Thursday, I believe it was. And then I posted on Facebook on conspiracy theories and how tumbling too far down that rabbit hole may actually end up making us feel disempowered and lost. So that was actually a very popular message, and I had no expectation of that happening at all. Maybe I'm cynical, thinking that people just want to feel good and be reassured that they're perfect as they are and so on and so forth. But this was a message of personal responsibility, and you responded. That was by far the most popular video that I've put out so far. Granted, I'm not an experienced YouTuber, but I was very delighted. And so I realized that I'd struck a nerve with you guys. Conspiracy theories is something that a lot of people are thinking about right now. I asked what you want to hear more about, and you answered the nature of evil. And I said, actually, I've thought quite a bit about that. And I don't know that many people can say that to that question, but actually I have. And I wanted to speak a little bit about it. So bear in mind that I approached this topic with a great deal of humility, really. I find it to be a very overwhelming topic. It's such a huge topic. And even dipping my toes into that territory is a little bit scary, you know, to be delving into the realm of evil. At this current level of my own understanding, I see evil as a highly impersonal dynamic force. That is, you are not evil, I am not evil, we are not evil, humanity isn't evil. But there is something that happens in us when we are fragmented psychologically, when we are not secure in ourselves, and we plunge into these energies of the underworld, of the liminal, that actually the archetypal emergence that can come shooting through and into our psyche, they can make us evil. So evil is a feature of the archetypal realm. Because when we are inflated by an archetype, we come to see ourselves much like Lucifer did in relationship to God. We come to see ourselves as gods ourselves. We come to see ourselves as divinely justified to have various opinions about the nature of reality. And we know that we are right. Oh, we know it so well. And nobody dare challenge that belief. So I was speaking about the shadow sovereign in the previous video, and I want you to really remember that the idea that we are all relating on some level to the shadow sovereign as long as we haven't reclaimed our inner throne. So there is this archetypal presence in our life that may or may not be influenced by our wounds from our childhood. And that gets to be constellated in our life as a feeling of an omnipotent force of darkness that is just dominating and subjugating us. And we can't ever really identify the true nature of this. We have some ideas, but we keep changing our ideas as we get new facts, so we can never quite pin this down. And that's because conspiracy thinking, in this sense, let's just be clear before I continue, that to pursue truth and alternative narratives, alternative to the mainstream media, doesn't need to take you down this rabbit hole. It's basically when you go too far down. And maybe you're already a little bit unclear on who you are to begin with, a little bit unhinged, a little bit chaotic in your mind, which a lot of us are because it's a confusing world. That's when we are at risk of being subjugated by this feeling of the dark king, this dark overlord. This is indistinguishable from religious experience. This is a feature of being in a kind of ritual space. You're close to the liminal. You don't have that strong sense of who you are. You don't have that strong sense of boundaries I was talking about, lacking a powerful warrior integration, and it's indeed very much about that. When I don't stand strong in myself, maybe I've been shamed or humiliated or abused or whatever, then I am at risk at borrowing power, borrowing energy from archetypes, because I don't have it in myself, in my small s self. So I need something to feel strong. I need something to feel like I'm not just a little midget, like a little gnat on the belly of the world, you know? I want to be someone. I want to be special. We all do. We want to have impact. And so this is the challenge. Again, reminding you that this is distinct from just normal, ordinary pursuit of truth. This is when we tumble down the rabbit hole. This is when we feel like we are in the presence of a force that is so big. It's not a human force. It's dramatic, it's epic, it's like Sauron, you know, or indeed, it's like Satan. Conspiracy theories and the way that they emerge in the liminal, in the archetypal sense, in that deep, dark, in the underworld kind of a sense, is a religious experience in secular culture. In other words, conspiracy theories is a secular retelling of the Lucifer story. We are looking for a place to displace or to project evil. If I can believe that this or that or the other, not naming names because, you know, I'm not going to get in, I don't want to get in trouble by objecting to whatever conspiracy theories that I haven't fully researched. I'm just saying I'm not here to make truth claims, I'm describing patterns. But I will be finding a person that I will turn into the devil. Because I no longer have a map of evil. But even evil being an archetypal phenomenon that lives in the collective, that is, evil constellates in groups more than it does in individuals. That is, if you have a leader that is being projected upon by a big group of followers, he can become evil as a consequence of the projections that are being put upon him as Lord, the Savior, whatever, the tyrant that we all been looking for. So now that we have established that evil is a feature of the collective unconscious, it's an archetypal phenomenon that typically expresses through our traumas, our wounds, and also very commonly is a feature of projection. Either we give our power away as a collective to an individual, or perhaps that individual takes power or whatever, but it's in this meeting between an authority figure, someone more powerful, and a lot of people, a collective that have given their power away, that evil comes to constellate, typically. So now then, say for instance that Bill Gates is your flavor of Satan. You look at Bill Gates and you're sure that he wants to cull humanity. I have no idea if he wants to do that or not, but a lot of people seem very convinced that he does want that. And so based on that premise, that is a draconian level of evil that is being projected into him. And now we have made Bill Gates into Satan. And of course then, being in a religious experience of him being Satan and not having a religious map to navigate by, it's a very confusing and strange landscape psychologically. So typically what a lot of us end up doing is that we just sit in our houses and we write on keyboards about, this expose, oh, Bill Gates is this and that and the other. We're convinced that we're right, we're convinced that he's the devil, but we have no God to turn to. And then essentially we are in an experience that we're not really equipped for. And so then we don't understand that the more that we've put our projections, our dark satanic projections, into an individual, the more we actually feed that energetic in the world. It could potentially be that it actually literally impacts Bill Gates, turning him into a darker force, but it could also be that it constellates in a different way. And so this is how power, authority, is given justification for starting to place all of these limitations on our freedom and our sovereignty, because we are in a way in a childlike relationship to a projected satanic presence. And then from that place, of course, being that it's inspired in some level by a lack of faith in authority or the archetypal father, we're in a bit of a childlike way with it, maybe a bit tantrum-like, very rebellious, and so we start acting out. And then now we maybe start becoming a problem. Maybe we're using the freedoms given to us in the form of democracy and free speech irresponsibly, and bit by bit, big organizations, politicians, authorities are given justification for clamping down on you. And now, all of a sudden, the very evil that you projected externally onto someone else starts to constellate in them because you've become a nuisance, you've become the evil in their world, and so they're starting to fight you. And this is the way it goes back and forth, you see. This is how we generate the very conditions that we're seeking to avoid. And this is why my message with Reclaim Me Inner Throne since the beginning, since I started it in 2014, is first on the agenda is to reclaim personal power and sovereignty. There's a lot of people that want to change the world, to save the collective, and so on and so forth, before they've claimed personal power. But what they don't understand is that when you try to do that, you will automatically plummet into the collective. You will start being flooded by archetypal emergence. And now the very person that was supposed to save the world, that wasn't actually coming from a place of power, he starts to now using borrowed power from archetypes, and he becomes the new person that somebody else chooses to project Satan onto. This is the domino effect, and it will keep perpetuating itself until you and I choose enough is enough. It's time for me to take my power back. This is my work. This is what I'm dedicated to. And I can't believe that you're actually excited about it. Thank you so much for giving me purpose and for giving me an audience for this message. It's so important. It's so absolutely frigging important that you and I and all of us, we take our power back. So when we start pursuing alternative narratives of truth, we don't have a regressive religious experience that we have no map for. Rather, we're actually honest pursuers of truth. And I think that you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't have watched this till the end. So thank you for being an honest pursuer of truth. Thank you for taking yourself and your capacity to do both good and evil so seriously that you're willing to do the research into these inner realms required to become a responsible and truly authentically good human being. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you again, and can't wait to invite you back into my woods. They're not exactly mine, but they feel quite personal to me. So thank you. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being interested in this radical and quite unusual content. I've spent more than a decade researching this territory, and many of my perspectives may be quite new to you, but I know that you're seeing and watching this right now because you're someone pursuing truth, and a less than mainstream kind of truth, but a truth that feels truly good to you deep in your bones, something that you can trust. I'm not going to help you find truth in all parts of life, but I'm certainly going to help you with what I know about. And if that's something that you want more of, please share this video with someone you care about, and also subscribe to this channel. That's a great support to me and to the work we do with Reclaiming Your Throne. And if you want to have notifications every time there's a new video, please also remember to press the little bell. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Have an ass-kicking day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.